Hey everyone, ready to dive into something really interesting? We're unlocking the secrets to a healthier you today with inShape, inLove, inSpired by Scott Capelin.
And let me tell you, he's not just some guy who decided to write a health book one day. Scott actually walked away from a whole corporate career to get into this.
Whoa, talk about dedication. From business school to opening 9. Wait, did you say 9?
9 health clubs, yep.
Oh.
That's over 20 years and, get this, 30,000 hours of coaching real people.
Okay, so this isn't just theory for him. He's living it. And it's not about squeezing into a smaller size. It's about finding, like he calls it, your peak self. That most energized, passionate you that's been hiding in there.
Right, and he doesn't shy away from the tough stuff either. He gets real about the scary health statistics we see.
Oh, you mean like those heart disease numbers?
Those, cancer, even things like rising divorce rates. He really makes you think about that gap between what we know we should do and what we actually end up doing.
Totally. It's like, I know that extra slice of cake isn't doing me any favors, but...
Exactly. And that's why he dives into the why. Like, what's your deeper reason for wanting to be healthier?
Yeah.
What's pushing you beyond just, oh, I should work out?
Because let's face it, should only gets you so far. It needs to be connected to something more, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Values. That's the key. What truly matters to you. When you figure that out, it's a game changer.
This idea of approaching fitness in stages really caught my eye.
You too. He compares it to athletes. Like, they have on seasons, they have off seasons. It makes the whole thing seem less intimidating.
So no more crazy boot camps or anything.
Well, it's more about finding what's sustainable for you long term. Your own pace, your own thing. Maybe it's dancing, swimming, even just walking more.
Finding that joy in movement again.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Okay, so we've ditched the quick fixes, we've got our why figured out, but realistically, staying motivated is tough. Life gets in the way. What's Scott's take on beating those motivation slumps?
He's big on accountability. Having a support system, whether that's a coach, a workout buddy, someone to check in with, it makes a world of difference.
Like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
100%.
Yeah.
Someone who gets it, who's there for the ups and the downs. It's amazing how much easier it is to lace up those shoes knowing someone's waiting for you, you know?
It's true. That external motivation can be powerful. And it reminds me of something Scott said about people who join gyms but don't see results.
Oh yeah, it's like they're just running on that treadmill but going nowhere.
And he said those who had a trainer actually saw way better results.
Right, because of that accountability and personalized plan. Someone invested in their success.
You've got me super curious about this intermittent fasting thing. It seems like everyone's doing it.
It's definitely interesting. And it really challenges that whole breakfast is the most important meal idea.
Oh, tell me about it. I grew up hearing that constantly.
Right, like don't even think about talking to me before coffee.
Exactly. So tell me more about this approach.
Well, it all comes down to how our bodies burn fuel, you see. They go through carbs first, then tap into fat stores.
Okay, makes sense so far.
And it takes about half a day, like 12 hours or so, to burn through those stored carbs. So if you push that first meal later...
Like giving your body more time to work with the fat.
Exactly. Instead of constantly replenishing those carb stores.
That actually makes a lot of sense. But what about all the other nutrition advice out there? I mean, Scott's been in the food industry. He must have seen it all.
He really has. And he doesn't hold back on some of the marketing tactics used by food companies. Like, remember that whole food pyramid thing?
Oh, yeah. Load up on carbs, right? Pasta, bread, all that.
And now everyone's saying low carb is the way to go.
Let's hear.
It's tough to keep up.
It really is. So what's Scott's take on it?
He argues that this big emphasis on carbs, especially the refined ones, might actually be connected to some of the health problems we're seeing. Yeah, he even points out how the obesity epidemic kind of took off around the same time those high-carb dietary guidelines were released. Makes you wonder.
It really does. Okay, so if we shouldn't be loading up on carbs, what should we be eating? All steak and avocados now?
Not quite. It's about balance, right? Whole, unprocessed foods as much as possible. He's not saying any food group is the enemy. We need it all protein, healthy fats, even carbs.
But the right kinds of carbs.
Exactly. Ditch those refined ones that spike your blood sugar. Go for those complex carbs from veggies, fruits. Uses this analogy, compares burning carbs to burning gasoline. You get that quick burst of energy, but then you crash.
Right, I've been there.
Burning fat, on the other hand, he says it's like burning coal-efficient, sustainable energy.
Fueling for the long haul, not just the quick fix.
Exactly. It's like, remember Gail, that client who was having that protein shake before her workout?
Yeah.
Packed with carbs.
Oh, no. She thought she was doing the right thing.
Right. But it was actually working against her. All about the timing. And speaking of workouts, let's talk about this resistance training thing. Why is it so important?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. So it's not just endless cardio.
Not at all. Remember Carolyn, that client who lost a ton of weight before her wedding? Juice cleanses, hours of cardio. She wanted to look amazing in that dress.
And did she?
Oh, she did. But get this, gained it all back and then some on her honeymoon.
Oh no, the wedding weight struggle is real. What happened?
A classic example of focusing on weight loss without thinking about muscle. When you lose weight with extreme diets and cardio, you end up losing muscle mass too.
And muscle is what keeps our metabolism going strong, right?
Yeah, you got it. It's like, imagine your metabolism is this furnace muscle is like adding logs to the fire. Keeps it burning hot, even when you're not actively shoveling in more fuel.
Okay, that's a visual I can get behind. So we need resistance training to hold on to that muscle while we're losing the fat.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be heavy lifting or anything intimidating. It's about finding what works for you where you're at.
So bodyweight stuff at home, resistance bands, even lighter weights with more reps, all that counts.
Absolutely. Challenge those muscles. Give them a reason to grow stronger.
Okay, I'm getting it. We've talked nutrition, exercise, accountability, but what about the mental game? Our own minds can be the biggest hurdle sometimes.
You know, that's so true. And Scott really emphasizes that whole mental and emotional side too. It's not just about the physical stuff, right?
It's all connected, like that story he tells about that seminar. When he had this aha moment about his own values.
Oh, yeah.
He was so focused on the business, on hitting his fitness goals, that he realized he'd kind of let go of some other things that were really important to him.
Family time, freedom to travel.
All of that. It's so easy to lose sight of those things when you're just head down, pushing towards a goal.
It is. And that's why he talks about taking the time to really get clear on those values. When you're living in alignment with those, that's where the real magic happens.
So it's like figure out what makes your heart sing and then actually build your life around that.
Yes. He actually gives you this whole process for it. Yeah. Creating a vision, setting goals, taking action. And it's not about waiting for someday, you know. It's about starting to live that dream life now, little by little.
He calls it like designing your perfect day.
Exactly. What would that look like for you? What would you be doing? Who would you be with?
I love that. Instead of putting it off for some magical future date, it's about bringing those little pieces of joy into your life every single day.
And you know what? When you start doing that, it spills over into every other area too.
Totally. Those good vibes, they're contagious. Now, I know Scott's big on relationships too. How does that fit into this whole picture of like unlocking your best self?
He sees it as essential. Nurturing those connections, those bonds with people you care about. It impacts everything. Your health, your happiness.
It makes sense. It's hard to thrive when you feel alone.
Right. And he makes this funny comparison. He calls it love tennis.
Okay, now I have to hear this. Love tennis.
Yeah. So he's talking about how important that give and take is, you know. It's like a rally back and forth. Can't just have one person serving the ball all the time.
Both people got to be active participants.
Yes. Put in the effort, you know. Nurture that connection. It's not going to magically thrive on its own.
Like anything worth having, it takes work.
It does. It reminded me of Matt, that client who went through that amazing transformation. The weight loss was incredible, but it was more than that.
What was it like for him?
His confidence just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And then he went after that dream job, found this amazing partner.
Yeah.
It's like this ripple effect.
Wow, that's inspiring. It's amazing how one positive change can lead to all these other incredible shifts. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Scott's book here, what's sticking with you? What surprised you? What really landed for you?
You know, what gets me is that word unlocking. He uses it throughout the whole book. It's about unlocking your healthiest self, yeah, but it's also so much more than that.
Unlocking your potential.
Your passions. That dream life you've always wanted.
And it's not about some huge, overwhelming life makeover either. It's those small changes done consistently that make the real difference.
And finding what works for you. Like you said, that 80-20 rule, right?
Oh, yeah. What were those again?
Focus on the 20% of habits that give you 80% of the results. For a lot of people, it's things like exercising regularly, incorporating that intermittent fasting. But it's about finding your own magic formula.
Exactly. What moves the needle for you? So, as we wrap up, what one thing from Scott's wisdom are you going to take action on?
I'm going to try that perfect day exercise. Just being more intentional about bringing those little moments of joy into my everyday life. What about you?
I love that. I think for me, it's about remembering that unlocking idea, that we all have so much potential, we just have to tap into it. And that's our challenge to you, our amazing listeners. What one small step can you commit to today to unlock your healthiest, happiest self? It's up to you. Go out there, make that commitment, and start unlocking that incredible potential. And until next time, keep diving deep.